Because where we're being killed and where we're doing the killing is in the cities. So get out of the cities. At some point, the American people are going to say, look, enough is enough. We've got to stop the killing, stop being killed. And naturally, whether the president wants to do it or not, you're going to have to withdraw from the cities. You're going to have to withdraw from the highways, because that's where we're being blown up. So where are you going to put them? You can't make a mad dash for Kuwait without leaving the place in turmoil. So you've got to withdraw logically to some point. Well, the most logical thing, it's most likely to have a civil war. The various factions would start, not that they really want to fight each other, but if they think the other is going for the oil refineries, the oil fields, the oil pipelines to secure those assets, then of course they're going to make the first move, and then therefore the Shiites and the Sunnis and the Kurds will all be in a civil war. So naturally, the most logical thing is withdraw the forces to secure those oil assets so they don't prompt a civil war. That's simple enough. And then say to the people of Iraq, form your representative government, get it approved by the UN, and we're out of here. Now, faced with the prospect of the United States, and I'm assuming, of course, that Tony Blair and the Brits will be more than happy to stop being killed and to go along with this, as well as the other coalition forces, coalition members, few as they are. So I'm going to refer to it as the U.S. all the time because I think that's the dog. The others are best the tail. So faced with the prospect of the U.S. holding the oil assets indefinitely and pocketing the oil revenues to pay for the defensive military buffer, I suspect that the Iraqis will forego the temptation to enter into civil war and will work out a representative government, and then with the approval of the United Nations, ask us to leave. And how can we not leave when they've satisfied the requirements of the United Nations in forming a representative government? Now, it's going to take them a little time to do this because, in effect, they will be having a civil war, but it will be a nonviolent civil war, like it was when we put together our Constitution. It was more than 10 years to decide that these states wanted this and those states wanted the other and whatever. It takes a little time. And so that's fine. And we could put the oil revenue money in a trust for them until then. But say, like, we're not going to do this forever. You got to form that government, or we're going to start paying for our buffer. Now, granted, this is blatant extortion. I'll grant you that. It's extortion. But, hey, it's better than killing and being killed. And we're going to have to get out of there somehow. So, and even if it succeeds, even if if the elections come off and everything's glorious, still, how are you going to get out? If you get out too precipitously, you're liable to have civil war. They might fall apart. So, of course, you're going to back out. So how do you back out? Well, back out to secure the oil assets, because that's the thing that'll fight over the most readily. So it can be this plan, this peace plan. And I am a pacifist. I consider myself a Jeffersonian Gandhian. But I'm not the kind of pacifist who that decries violence and refuses to speak in terms of troop placement. I think a true pacifist should be able to walk into any conflict situation and define a solution, an alternative that works to everybody's benefit, because I think pacifism works to everybody's benefit. And so you should be able to do that. And I think that's where the responsibility is to come up with a concrete alternative policy for Iraq. And but you won't find the media doing it, and you won't find academia doing it. You won't find the professors in political science up here at the university doing it. What you'll find them doing is hand-wringing. And that's about as helpful as when your relative, your sister comes to you battered and bruised from her husband and needs help, and it's a terrible situation. She's got to get out of this situation. She's got to withdraw. And you say, I told you not to marry that guy. He was a drunk, and you knew it. I told you. Why didn't you listen to me? Blah, blah, blah. Big help. No, that doesn't work. A restraining order. Get the kids on this. Get you on the plane to Hawaii. You got to talk in concrete terms. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Now, of course, I tried to give this plan. I've been trying to stuff this plan down people's throats since April, and now it's January. Keep sending it to the columnists at the New York Times, and they keep saying, well, we have no exit strategy. Yeah. Send it to Kerry, but of course, John Kerry, presidential candidate, nothing. Kucinich, nothing. Nader, nothing. Because that's not how it works in this system. Candidates don't have solutions. They've got cliches. We've got to come together and sit down, reason this out. We've got to move forward. We've got to stand up, stand tall. You know, American people know you can't move forward while you're sitting down. You know, you got to stand. They don't even get their cliches in order. But that's what you get on the tube, because the policy alternatives are the province of corporate lobbyists, and you're not supposed to go near there. So I'm on prohibited territory here, speaking in terms of a concrete, actual solution. Now, you don't like the solution. Oh, so what? What's your solution? Where's your alternative? Okay, so it's not perfect. Peace plan doesn't have to be perfect. It only has to be the best option available, the best option latent in the facts of the situation. So if you don't like it, improve on it. If you can't improve on it, well, you're not in the game. You're not speaking where it's important. Now some people will say, oh no, they'll just attack our buffer. Okay, well, what do they have to do to attack it? How are they going to get through? Well, they have to mass, right? They have to mass equipment. They have to mass troops. Now tell me, why couldn't we defeat the Viet Cong? That 9-year-old child there, yes? Yes, exactly right, because they wouldn't mass. Because then they're vulnerable to our superior firepower. So of course they can't come through that way. They can harass perhaps, but send over 100 D9 bulldozers and put a 2-mile wide swath of no person's land around the place, even if it's a quarter or a third the size of all of Iraq. These things can be done. Even then, it's better, it's easier to defend a position where you're dug in than driving down the main street being shot at from behind windows and walls and stuff. That's crazy. So, and I think some people, because I know all the political scientists listening to this, they're not saying, well, here's an idea that might work. Let's see, well, I see a flaw there, but I see how to answer that. No, they say, oh, it won't work, because of course. You can't go, the last thing the educational system wants you to do is to think in terms